First of all, I'd like to thank all of you for being here. And as you can tell, I have people who are here from my very first job when I was at the University of Tennessee to my most recent job. So I appreciate the fact that you're all represented. And I'd also like to thank Ed Griffith for his being here and for videotaping my reading so that we can put it at YouTube. So even though I know all of you, there's some things I don't know about you, so I'm going to ask if you just kind of do one of these for me and tell me how many people actually grew up on a farm. Okay, okay. Aha. Well, I didn't grow up on a farm. I grew up in the suburbs of Seattle. And actually in '94 I stopped eating beef and pork, and when I went to this dairy farm because my publisher sent me to photograph dairy farms in 1998, I saw this calf being born. And the dairy farmer had to pull him so that he could have life. And I turned to him and I said, "So what's going to happen to this little guy?" And he said, "Well, he's going to go to market in 30 days. And I said, "So how much do you want for him?" And he said, $40. And I said, "Oh, okay, well, I'll take him." And the investment has been much more than $40 over the years. So what I did is I had a column that I published weekly at a rural newspaper, and some of those readings will come from those published columns. But there's something else also, and that is, if you're willing to say, how many of you are familiar with Twitter? At least familiar enough so that you've gone online and seen Twitter. Maybe you've even tweeted or have an account. No? Okay. So these are just a few of the selections of the tweets that I've done. Another aspect to it is that you have to keep the characters to 140 characters. You can't go over 140. So I'm also a poet, and that was what I got one of my degrees in as an English major, was as a poet. So keeping things to 140 characters is sometimes a challenge, but most of all, it's fun and exciting. So I'm going to read this first one to you. And this talks about what I told you about my first bull. I now have 2 bulls and 1 heifer. The temperature was hot, and one heifer was having difficulty calving. The farmer brought her inside and pulled the little guy to breathe life. Second tweet. Present for his fortuitous birth, at 11 days old, I adopted the scrawny, half Brahma, half Holstein, who came to be called Sonny. Here's another one from another tweet. Sitting atop a stack of square bales a few feet from barn rafters and looking out, I breathe in deeply and take mental note. Blue sky and tall grass. My hay supplier, he has an honor system where I can go to his barn, and his barn is, I don't know how many feet high, maybe 30 feet high, real tall. And he stacks all of his stacks of hay up there. And sometimes for me, that's my moment of quiet, to get up there and just look out on the pasture that he, cuts. At 4:30 this morning, routinely carting water to cattle, I looked at the stars and thought, what a miracle life is. So those are my tweets. Actually, it's just some of them. I tweet more than that. But I wanted to introduce those who hadn't been familiar with Twitter and tweets about what a fun thing it is.